So a little over a year ago, after wanting one for so long, I finally decided to pull the trigger on the LG C1. The entire C line, whether you find a C1, C2, or the newer C3, maybe even C4 now, are still some of the best TVs you can get your hands on right now for both media consumption, but more importantly, in my opinion, gaming. In my case, I wanted a TV to be future-proof and work well with both my PS5 and Xbox Series X, as well as my custom PC when I wanted to sit back and play some games a little bit more casually. In today's video, I'll review the TV that I've had in my experience, and hopefully for those of you on the fence, decide if it's worth the price for you. Right off the bat, the TV is stunning. The bezels are pretty slim, and the flat panel is the thinnest that I think I've ever seen on any device. It did make me a little paranoid setting it up at first. I thought it was gonna like snap on me or something, but it's really durable and you don't have to worry about that. I have mine mounted. It does come with a pretty heavy stand with some cable management if you need that. There's 3 HDMI 2.1 ports, which all support a 4K resolution at 120 Hertz, though one does have eARC, or Enhanced Audio Return Channel, which allows audio to be reproduced at the best possible quality. This would be especially nice if you're using a soundbar and want a fantastic audio experience. The HDMI ports being 2.1 means that they're gonna work flawlessly with the next gen consoles. And if we talk about the display panel itself, it's simply gorgeous. Being, of course, it's an OLED. Each pixel can be controlled individually and turn off completely for making those inky blacks and a fantastic picture experience. Overall, to this day, every time I turn the TV on, it pretty much blows me away just how good it looks. The viewing angles are very impressive. You can look at it from literally any angle without any sacrifice in image quality or color accuracy. I've done no color calibration out of the box, and I've had absolutely no issues with how it looks. If you'd like to do your own tweaking though, diving in the settings is quite simple. Pressing the gear button on the remote and it will open up the side pop-up, and you can press on all settings you can. Not only figure the picture, but also the sound. There's general or support. There's a few different HDR picture modes. You can use like vivid, standard, cinema, game optimizer, and filmmaker mode. But on top of that, you can go into the advanced settings to choose things like brightness, clarity, and a ton more. I've had the TV at 100% brightness and found it to be fine most of the time, but comparing the OLED panel to other TVs, it doesn't get quite as bright, peaking at somewhere around 700 to 750 nits in HDR content. This is definitely something you should consider depending on where you're gonna be using the TV. I sit on my couch opposite of 2 windows, and during the day, it can be a little difficult to see clearly as there are gonna be some reflections on the screen. If you are someone with direct sunlight, it probably wouldn't be a very good experience. Another thing worth noting with OLED panels is burn-in. It's definitely a real issue and worth taking into consideration. I haven't had any issues thus far, but still, I try to be pretty cautious and careful not to leave it on a static image for a while, or if I'm gonna be, leaving the house, of course, I'm turning the TV completely off. I have played some games like Call of Duty with static HUD elements, but I think that so long as you're switching up the content and aren't always having the same thing on the screen, you really shouldn't have too much to worry about. There are some OLED care features like pixel cleaning, screen move, and automatically adjusting static logos. If you're concerned, those are theirs for you. There are various audio modes you can toggle between, but the quality overall is pretty underwhelming in my opinion. You can configure the sound based on whether you're wall mounted or just using the stand, and it'll optimize the sound accordingly. With the speakers being on the bottom, it's gonna bounce off whatever surface it's sitting on. So again, it won't really make for the most impressive sound. That's why I use a sound bar. During the TV's game optimizer mode, it gets even better with low latency being enabled. This is great for when you're playing games like Call of Duty, where fast reaction times are important. This makes for no noticeable input lag, and playing on the TV just feels fluid. There's some other options within the game optimizer like black and white stabilizers There's also OLED Motion Pro to reduce motion blur, and AI game sound that can automatically adjust your sound depending on the game you're playing. The C1 has been perfect alongside my PS5 and Xbox Series X, but using it with my custom PC as well has been fantastic. It has a full NVIDIA support, which is great since my PC uses an NVIDIA graphics card. If you're planning to use the C1 as a long-term monitor for your PC, I do recommend you turn on Auto Hide Taskbar to prevent any burn-in when not connected to the PC. I have been pretty disappointed in the performance of WebOS. It's ridiculous how much the TV costs that the software feels really sluggish. I stay out of it as much as I can and just use the PS5 or my Apple TV for any media consumption I do rather than trying to use the apps on the TV itself. Though the remote you can use to navigate through the C1 is actually pretty nice. The buttons all feel solid to press, and the center directional pad is nice to press on. There's also a middle dial that works as a cursor, which is a cool idea in theory, but I've actually found it to be more of a pain to use. It's not really always super accurate, and I hate having to like wave the remote around to jump through the menus, so I don't really use that option at all. So is the LG C1 OLED worth it, or any of the C line? I definitely think it's worth the investment for those who game a lot and do have their hands on a next-gen console or beefy PC with 4K resolution and 120 hertz refresh rate. This TV is future-proof to run any game that comes out this console generation and probably well into the next. The OLED panel makes for those inky blacks and a fantastic picture quality that's so nice to have in games and movies alike. There is the question of burn-in, again, posing an issue long-term, but if you're taking the precautions and switching up the content, you're just, playing frequently, it really shouldn't be that much of a worry. I'm curious what you guys think, and I hope I was able to help those of you thinking about buying this TV come to a final decision. If you have any questions, feel free to drop me a comment. But with that, I'm Kyle, and I appreciate you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.